Following her promotion, Sora's responsibilities expanded significantly, encompassing not only the ongoing military exchanges, but also the broader aspects of interstellar diplomacy. She was now frequently involved in high-level meetings that shaped the strategic direction of Virexia's defense and foreign relations, particularly concerning their alliance with Earth. To build on the momentum of the symposium, Sora initiated a new series of tactical training sessions that were more advanced and nuanced than those in the initial exchange. These sessions were specifically designed for mixed-species teams, focusing on scenarios that might occur in joint missions, such as rescue operations in hostile environments or coordinated strikes against common enemies. The training was rigorous and demanding, pushing the teams to their limits, but also fostering a deep sense of unity and trust. During one particular session, a simulation required teams to operate in a chemically hazardous environment with limited visibility and severe communication restrictions. The exercise was designed to test the team's ability to use nonverbal cues and trust in each other's abilities to navigate and complete objectives. The Virexians' advanced sensory organs and the humans' ingenuity in improvising solutions proved complementary, leading to successful completion of the exercise. This success demonstrated the potential of combining their unique strengths and capabilities. Meanwhile, the Intercultural Center had become a hub of activity, hosting delegations, seminars, and cultural events that were open to both military personnel and civilians. Sora took a keen interest in the center's operations, often attending events and interacting with visitors. She believed that fostering understanding and friendship at all levels of society was crucial to the success of the military alliance. One of the center's most popular initiatives was a series of public lectures by experts from both Earth and Virexia on topics ranging from astrophysics to philosophy. Sora herself delivered a lecture on the role of military alliances in galactic peacekeeping, which drew a large audience and sparked an enthusiastic discussion among attendees. The positive response to these initiatives encouraged Sora and her team to propose an expansion of the program. They outlined plans for a biennial galactic conference that would bring together not just Earth and Virexia, but other allied species as well, to discuss and collaborate on issues of galactic importance. The proposal was ambitious, aiming to establish a permanent interstellar council that would address not only security, but also trade, environmental concerns, and cultural exchanges. As these plans were being developed, Sora maintained close communication with her Earth counterparts, ensuring that all initiatives were aligned and mutually beneficial. Her dedication and vision were instrumental in navigating the complex dynamics of interstellar relations, and she became a respected figure not only among her own people, but also across the galaxy. Her efforts were not without challenges. Differences in approach and priorities sometimes led to tensions, requiring delicate diplomacy and compromise. However, Sora's experience at the Earth Academy had taught her the importance of empathy and patience in overcoming such hurdles. The culmination of her hard work came when the first galactic conference was held on Virexia, attended by delegates from multiple star systems. Sora played a central role in the proceedings, facilitating discussions and helping to forge agreements on several key issues. The conference was hailed as a success, marking a significant step forward in galactic cooperation. Through these experiences, Sora grew not only as a military leader, but also as a diplomat and a visionary, driven by a belief in the power of cooperation and understanding. Her leadership continued to guide the Earth-Virexia alliance towards a future where peace and partnership prevailed across the stars. The cold steel of the starship's hull gleamed under the stark lights of the docking bay as Lieutenant Sora Zelix disembarked, her three eyes scanning the unfamiliar terrain. She was a soldier of the Virexian fleet, her skin a shimmering blue, and her limbs slightly elongated, betraying her non-human origins. The Virexians, known across the galaxy for their military prowess, rarely showed fear. Yet as Sora stepped into the Earth's most prestigious military academy, her heart fluttered with an uncharacteristic hint of terror. Sora's mission was clear but daunting: to integrate with human military cadets, learn their strategies, and evaluate their combat skills. The interstellar alliance between Earth and Virexia depended on mutual understanding and respect. But as Sora gazed at the sea of human faces, she felt like an intruder from another world. Her briefing had not prepared her for the raw intensity of these young warriors. As she walked through the sprawling campus, her sensitive ears picked up snippets of conversation and laughter. The humans were diverse, more so than any species she had encountered. They varied in height, color, and demeanor, a mosaic of Earth's rich heritage. It was both fascinating and overwhelming. Her guide, Captain Elena Martinez, seemed to sense her unease. A seasoned officer with sharp features and a commanding presence, Elena was chosen to help Sora navigate this foreign environment. "Feeling out of your element?" Elena asked, her voice a mix of empathy and curiosity. "Is it that obvious?" Sora replied, her voice a melodic contrast to the human's deeper tones. "A bit," Elena chuckled. "Don't worry, you're not the first exchange soldier to feel this way. Earth can be overwhelming, even for us." Their first stop was the simulation room, where cadets trained in various combat scenarios. The room buzzed with energy as cadets geared up in virtual reality suits, their faces set in determination. Sora observed as a young cadet expertly navigated a simulation of a hostile urban environment, taking down virtual enemies with precision. "You humans train quite rigorously," Sora noted, her admiration tinged with anxiety. "We have to," Elena responded, watching the cadets with pride. "Each scenario is designed to push them to their limits." Sora was next. The technicians fitted her with a suit, adjusting it to accommodate her extra height and the slight webbing between her fingers. As the virtual reality took over, she found herself in a dense jungle, the sounds and smells startlingly real. Her training kicked in, and she moved with a grace that belied her size, taking down enemy projections efficiently. However, as the scenario progressed, the challenges mounted. She faced situations that Virexian training had never covered, forcing her to improvise. Her performance was commendable, but the fear that she might fail in front of her human counterparts gnawed at her. When the simulation ended, she emerged, breathing heavily, her face flushed with the exertion and the embarrassment of several close calls. "Not bad for a first-timer," a cadet remarked, a broad smile on his face. "You Virexians are as good as the legends say." Sora nodded, grateful for the encouragement, but still shaken. The day continued with a tour of the academic facilities, the physical training areas, and the strategy halls where cadets and instructors engaged in vigorous debates over tactics and theories of war. By the end of the day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the academy, Sora felt a mixture of awe and fear. She had seen the humans in a new light, not just as allies, but as formidable warriors in their own right. That night, as she lay in her assigned quarters, her mind raced with thoughts of the upcoming weeks. She was far from her home galaxy, surrounded by beings whose strength and spirit had initially intimidated her. Yet there was also a budding respect, both for the cadets and for herself. Perhaps, she thought, this was the beginning of true understanding. As she drifted off to sleep, the last sliver of fear ebbed away, replaced by a determination to learn, adapt, and maybe even excel in this strange new world. As the days turned into weeks, Sora found herself gradually integrating into the rhythms of the academy. Each morning, she joined the cadets for their rigorous physical training, a mix of endurance running, strength exercises, and tactical drills that pushed her to her physical limits. The Earth's gravity, slightly heavier than Virexia's, taxed her muscles and joints, but with each passing day, she grew stronger and more adept. In the classroom, she delved into human military history and strategy, a subject that both intrigued and challenged her. The human approach to warfare was drastically different from the Virexians. Where her people emphasized direct, overwhelming force, humans employed a complex mix of guile, diplomacy, and strategic positioning. It fascinated Sora how historical battles were studied not just for their outcomes, but for the lessons they imparted on leadership, morale, and innovation. One afternoon, during a session on the great naval battles of Earth's 20th century, Sora debated a point with a fellow cadet named Tom. He argued that the decisive factor in many historical engagements was not sheer power, but the ability to adapt quickly to changing circumstances. You see, it's not just about having the strongest ships or the most soldiers, Tom explained, his eyes alight with passion for the subject. It's about how you use them, how you adapt. Sometimes being flexible and unpredictable is more powerful than being strong. Sora considered this. In Virexian strategy, we often rely on our technological superiority to overwhelm opponents quickly. This flexibility is not something we prioritize. That might be effective in a straightforward battle, Tom replied. But human history is full of smaller forces outmaneuvering larger ones through clever tactics and bold leadership. This exchange stuck with Sora. She spent long nights pondering how to integrate what she learned about flexibility and adaptability into her own tactical framework. It was a challenging process, requiring her to step outside her comfort zone and rethink long-held military doctrines. Her practical skills were put to the test in team-based exercises, where cadets were mixed into squads and faced off in simulated combat scenarios. Sora was initially assigned to lead a team, which caused a stir among some cadets who were skeptical of her ability to understand human tactics. However, her initial success in the simulations had earned her a measure of respect, and she was determined not to squander it. During one particularly intense exercise, her squad was pinned down by sniper fire. They were taking simulated casualties rapidly, and it seemed like a loss was inevitable. Remembering her discussions with Tom, Sora called for a risky maneuver. Instead of advancing forward as her training suggested, she split the squad, sending a few members on a flanking route while the rest laid down suppressing fire. The tactic worked. The squad broke through the enemy lines, turning a likely defeat into a surprising victory. Her team members cheered, clapping her on the back with wide grins. Sora felt a swell of pride, not just for the win, but for her ability to adapt and lead in an unfamiliar environment. As the program progressed, Sora's initial fear and isolation transformed into a sense of camaraderie. She formed close bonds with her squad members, sharing stories of their homes and cultures late into the night. They learned from her as much as she learned from them, and together they explored the complexities of interstellar military cooperation. Through these shared experiences, Sora realized that her mission was more than just a simple exchange. It was an opportunity to bridge two worlds through understanding and respect, a chance to prove that even warriors from distant stars could find common ground. This realization empowered her, fueling her determination to make the most of her time at the Earth Academy, and to return home not just as a soldier, but as a bridge builder between civilizations. The midpoint of Sora's tenure at the Academy coincided with the arrival of high-ranking military officials from various Earth nations, keen to observe the interstellar exchange program. This heightened the intensity of the training sessions, as every cadet wanted to showcase their best in front of such distinguished guests. For Sora, it was an opportunity to demonstrate the fruits of her collaboration with the human cadets. During a large-scale simulation designed for the visitors, Sora was once again leading a mixed team. This scenario was set in a complex urban environment, requiring careful navigation through tight streets and buildings, a setup quite alien to the open terrains typical of Virexian warfare. The challenge was daunting, but Sora's previous successes had bolstered her confidence. As the simulation began, her team quickly encountered obstacles. Enemy forces utilized guerrilla tactics, striking swiftly and then disappearing into the maze of buildings. Sora realized that traditional Virexian frontal assaults would be ineffective in this scenario. Drawing on her discussions about historical Earth battles, she adapted her strategy to include elements of stealth and surprise, tactics she had learned from her human counterparts. In one critical moment, Sora coordinated a diversion that drew the enemy's attention to one side of the map, while her main forces silently moved through an underground route to flank the opposition. The maneuver was risky. Timing and precision were crucial, but her team executed it flawlessly, catching the enemy off guard and securing a strategic vantage point. The officials, watching from the control room, were impressed by the innovative tactics and the seamless integration of human and alien strategies. Sora received commendations for her leadership and adaptability, marks of honor that filled her with pride, yet also reinforced the heavy responsibility she carried. Outside of the simulations and training, Sora engaged in numerous cultural exchange sessions. She presented on Virexian culture, technology, and military tactics, drawing large crowds of curious cadets and faculty. These presentations were also open to the public, and soon, news outlets began covering her stay, intrigued by the story of a Virexian soldier adapting to human military life. The media coverage was mostly positive, but it also brought challenges. During one Q&A session, a journalist asked pointed questions about the military applications of Virexian technology and whether the exchange was truly about learning or if it was a covert means of military enhancement. The room tensed up, but Sora handled the question with the dignity and openness that had become her trademark. "We share in the spirit of mutual advancement and protection," Sora answered calmly. "What we learn here, about each other's strengths and vulnerabilities, will help build trust and cooperation across our civilizations, not just in military might, but in fostering a lasting peace." Her answer was met with applause, a sign that her efforts to bridge the cultural and military divides were resonating with many. As her time at the academy drew to a close, Sora focused on compiling a report of her experiences and lessons learned. This document was intended for both her superiors in Virexia and the academy's leadership, detailing her recommendations for future exchanges and the potential for deeper collaborative efforts. Through her own evolution from a wary visitor to a respected leader and bridge builder, Sora realized that the greatest battles were often fought not on the fields of war, but within the hearts and minds of those who dared to cross the divide between the known and the unknown. This realization not only transformed her approach to her duties, but also promised to influence the future interactions between Earth and Virexia. As the end of her program neared, Sora's interactions with the cadets became bittersweet, knowing that soon she would leave these friendships that had grown beyond mere military alliances. She began focusing on final training exercises and assessments, designed to test all she had learned and imparted over the past months. One of the final exercises was a complex war game involving multiple squads and an array of objectives, simulating a real-world conflict scenario. It was set on a mock battlefield that integrated various terrains: dense forests, urban ruins, and open fields. Sora was assigned as one of the overall commanders, a position that required her to oversee several human and Virexian mixed teams. The exercise was intense, lasting over 2 days with minimal breaks. Sora's command post buzzed with activity, screens displaying live feeds from drones and squad cameras. Her role required constant communication with squad leaders, rapid decision-making, and adaptive strategies that utilized the strengths of both human and Virexian tactics. On the first day, her forces faced significant setbacks. A key objective was lost due to a miscommunication between teams, leading to a heated debrief. Sora took responsibility for the confusion, highlighting the need for clearer channels of communication. Overnight, she reworked her approach, setting up more robust lines of reporting and ensuring each team leader understood their roles within larger maneuvers. The second day saw a marked improvement. Her forces recaptured their lost objective and even managed to secure additional key points on the map. Sora's ability to adapt and learn from previous mistakes was evident, earning her praise from both her peers and the observing officials. After the war games, the Academy hosted a formal dinner in honor of the visiting dignitaries and to celebrate the successful conclusion of the exchange program. Sora was asked to give a speech. Standing before the assembled guests, both human and a few visiting Virexians, she spoke about the unity and understanding that had developed between them. "In these months we have seen that our differences do not divide us, but rather enrich our collective strength," Sora said, her voice steady and clear. "We have shared knowledge and perspectives that, I believe, will lead to stronger defenses and lasting peace. Let us continue this path of shared learning and cooperation." Her speech was met with robust applause, and many approached her afterward to express their admiration and hopes for future exchanges. It was a night of celebration, reflection, and forward-looking aspirations. In her final week, Sora packed her belongings and prepared her reports, but she also took time to meet individually with many of the cadets and instructors who had become her friends and mentors. They exchanged contact information and promises to keep in touch, perhaps even visit each other's planets. On her last day, as Sora walked through the Academy grounds, she reflected on all she had experienced. The fear that had once gripped her was now replaced with a profound respect for the complexities and capabilities of human warfare and an optimistic outlook on future collaborations. As she boarded her ship to return to Virexia, the cadets and staff lined up to bid her farewell, a gesture that moved her deeply. With a final wave, she stepped aboard, the doors closing behind her. As the ship ascended, Sora looked down at the fading view of the Academy, a place that had taught her so much about humanity and herself. She felt a surge of gratitude for the opportunity and a quiet confidence that the bonds formed here would indeed be the groundwork for a lasting alliance between Earth and Virexia. Back on Virexia, Sora's return was met with much curiosity and anticipation. The military leadership was eager to learn of her experiences, hoping to glean insights that could be applied to Virexian military practices. Sora spent her first weeks participating in debriefing sessions, presenting her findings, and discussing the potential applications of human military strategies. One of the more significant recommendations in her report was the establishment of a joint training program between Earth and Virexia, allowing for a continuous exchange of tactical knowledge and training methodologies. She argued that such a program could foster a deeper understanding and operational synergy in future joint missions. Meanwhile, at a higher political level, her successful exchange prompted discussions about strengthening diplomatic ties with Earth. Virexian diplomats, previously cautious in their dealings with humans, now saw a valuable ally in the shared goal of regional stability and mutual defense. Sora was occasionally asked to attend these meetings, where her first-hand experiences and observations provided valuable insights. Her life took on a new rhythm, balancing her duties at the Virexian military with her role as an advisor on human-Virexian relations. It was during this time that Sora started working closely with a team tasked with developing new communication technologies inspired by human advances. These technologies were intended to enhance battlefield communication, particularly in mixed-species operations, ensuring that the issues she faced during her early days at the Academy would not hinder future collaborations. Sora also kept in touch with several of her human friends and colleagues from the Academy, exchanging messages and video calls. These interactions kept the memories and lessons of her time on Earth fresh and continually informed her contributions to Virexian strategies. Her human counterparts expressed interest in visiting Virexia, and plans began to take shape for a reverse exchange program. In preparation for the first group of human cadets expected to visit Virexia, Sora led the creation of a specialized orientation program. The program was designed to introduce humans to Virexian culture, environment, and military protocols, much like what she had experienced on Earth. She included modules on handling the higher gravity of Virexia, which could be challenging for humans, as well as sections on Virexian social etiquette and communication styles. As the arrival of the human cadets approached, Sora oversaw the final preparations at the military training facility that would host the program. She ensured that all facilities were equipped to accommodate human physiological needs, including adjusting training equipment and modifying dietary provisions. When the day finally arrived, Sora stood at the landing platform, awaiting the human delegation. As the ship touched down and the delegation disembarked, she felt a surge of excitement mixed with a familiar nervousness. Among the faces, she spotted several of her former classmates, their expressions a mix of eagerness and apprehension, not unlike her own when she first arrived at the Earth Academy. Welcoming them with a speech that echoed her initial hopes and the spirit of partnership, Sora felt a profound sense of pride and responsibility. This was her chance to reciprocate the hospitality and learning she had benefited from on Earth. The program kicked off with enthusiasm, and as the cadets started their orientation, Sora watched them with a keen sense of accomplishment and anticipation for the shared experiences ahead. This reverse exchange, she believed, would not only solidify the bond she had helped forge, but also pave the way for a lasting interstellar alliance, built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared aspirations for peace and security. As the human cadets settled into their new surroundings on Virexia, Sora was instrumental in facilitating their adaptation. She conducted daily briefings, answering queries and addressing concerns about Virexian culture and military practices. Her unique position as a liaison allowed her to smooth over cultural misunderstandings and foster a collaborative atmosphere among the trainees. During one of the first joint training exercises, a misalignment in tactical approaches led to a simulated mission failure. The human cadets were used to a higher degree of improvisation on the field, whereas the Virexians operated under strict adherence to pre-planned actions. This disparity highlighted the need for an integrated approach to tactics and operations. Sora convened a meeting between the trainers and cadets to discuss the exercise, encouraging open dialogue about each group's methodologies and reasoning. The session proved to be enlightening for both sides. Virexian cadets learned about the flexibility and adaptability of human tactics, while the human cadets gained insight into the importance of discipline and structure in Virexian operations. Sora facilitated these exchanges with a keen understanding of both perspectives, ensuring that each side appreciated the strengths of the other. In addition to tactical training, Sora introduced a series of cultural exchange nights, where Virexians and humans shared their traditions, music, and cuisine. These events served to break down barriers and build camaraderie. During one such night, a group of human cadets performed a traditional earth dance, which was met with enthusiastic applause and curiosity from their Virexian peers. In return, Virexian cadets demonstrated one of their traditional martial arts, leading to a lively session where everyone tried to learn the basic moves. Sora noticed that these cultural sessions not only entertained, but also deepened the understanding among the cadets. They started to see each other not just as military allies, but as individuals with rich cultural heritages to share. This mutual respect translated into more effective teamwork during training exercises. Recognizing the benefits of these cultural interactions, Sora proposed the establishment of a permanent intercultural center on the base, dedicated to the ongoing exchange of ideas and traditions between Earth and Virexia. The proposal was well received by both Virexian and Earth military leadership, and plans were quickly set in motion to establish the center. With the Intercultural Center in development, Sora took on the role of overseeing its creation, drawing on her experiences and the feedback from the cadets. The center would include a library of Earth and Virexian literature, a gallery of art from both worlds, and multimedia rooms where cadets could immerse themselves in simulations of each other's environments. As the training program neared its conclusion, the human cadets were noticeably more adept at navigating the complexities of Virexian strategies and environments. The progress was a testament to the effectiveness of the immersive, integrative approach Sora had championed. On the final day of the program, a large-scale joint exercise was held, incorporating all the lessons learned over the past weeks. It was a resounding success, showcasing the ability of human and Virexian cadets to operate seamlessly as a single unit. The exercise not only demonstrated their tactical prowess, but also their ability to adapt and support each other under pressure. Watching the cadets work together, Sora felt a profound sense of achievement. She had not only fulfilled her mission, but had also helped lay the groundwork for a future where Virexia and Earth could look to each other not just as allies, but as partners. The respect and understanding cultivated here, she believed, were the real victories, the kind that could lead to lasting peace and cooperation across the stars. As the initial exchange program concluded with marked success, Sora and her colleagues began planning for the next phase of the partnership, which would involve even deeper cooperation between Earth and Virexia. The positive outcomes of the training had spurred interest from other military and academic institutions on both planets, leading to discussions about expanding the program. The first step was to establish a series of workshops and symposiums where military leaders and strategists from Earth and Virexia could come together to discuss shared security concerns and explore further integration of their forces. Sora was tasked with organizing the inaugural symposium, which would focus on the challenges of interstellar warfare and the defense against common extraterrestrial threats. In preparation for this significant event, Sora worked closely with a diverse team, including experts in diplomacy, military strategy, and intercultural communication. The agenda included panels on technology integration, shared logistics platforms, and combined operational command structures. She hoped that these discussions would not only strengthen military ties, but also pave the way for broader cooperation in areas such as technology transfer and joint scientific research. Meanwhile, the construction of the Intercultural Center was progressing well. Sora frequently visited the site, ensuring that the facilities would adequately represent both cultures and provide a welcoming space for ongoing dialogue and learning. She envisioned the center not only as a training facility, but as a beacon of interstellar partnership, a tangible example of what could be achieved when different worlds work together. As the symposium date approached, participants from Earth began to arrive on Virexia. Sora greeted each delegation personally, using the opportunity to strengthen the bonds she had formed during her time at the Earth Academy. She was particularly excited to reunite with some of her former instructors and peers, who were now playing pivotal roles in their respective military establishments. The symposium kicked off with a keynote speech by a renowned Virexian general, followed by a series of breakout sessions. Sora chaired a panel on hybrid tactics in interstellar conflict, which drew a large audience. The discussions were vibrant and productive, with participants eagerly exchanging ideas and debating various approaches to common security scenarios. One of the more heated debates arose around the use of artificial intelligence in warfare. While Virexians had long integrated AI into their military operations, humans were more cautious, citing ethical concerns and the potential risks of autonomous weapons. Sora facilitated this discussion with a deft hand, encouraging a balanced view that considered both the technological benefits and the moral implications. As the symposium neared its end, it was clear that significant progress had been made. Agreements were reached to conduct joint research on AI safety protocols and to establish a combined task force to oversee the development of interstellar defense systems. The participants left with a sense of accomplishment and a shared commitment to continue their collaboration. After the symposium, Sora spent time reflecting on the outcomes and planning the next steps. She knew that the path ahead would be challenging, with many logistical and political obstacles to navigate. However, the foundations laid during the symposium provided a strong basis for future cooperation. Sora's leadership in these efforts did not go unnoticed. Her superiors commended her for her diplomatic skills and strategic insights, and she was promoted to a senior advisory role within the Virexian Defense Ministry. In this new capacity, she would oversee the continued expansion of the Earth-Virexia partnership, guiding it through its next phases of development. Her work was now more important than ever. The success of the First Galactic Conference ushered in a new era of interstellar collaboration, inspiring other planetary systems to seek membership and participate in the burgeoning alliance. Sora was at the forefront of these expansions, negotiating terms and establishing protocols that would ensure a balanced and equitable partnership among the diverse members of the galactic community. Her diplomatic skills were put to the test when tensions arose over resource allocation in a disputed star system. Several species claimed mining rights to a particularly rich asteroid belt, and the potential for conflict threatened the stability of the alliance. Sora was appointed to lead a mediation team to resolve the dispute. With her characteristic mix of firmness and fairness, she managed to broker a compromise that included shared mining rights and a joint research facility to study the asteroid's unique minerals, which all parties agreed would benefit the broader galactic community. In recognition of her contributions, Sora was invited to speak at a number of high-profile events, including an interstellar summit on security and cooperation. Her speeches emphasized the importance of building a resilient and responsive alliance, capable of addressing not only military threats, but also humanitarian and environmental crises. Her message resonated widely, strengthening her reputation as a leader with a clear vision for the future. Back on Virexia, the ongoing exchange programs had blossomed under Sora's guidance. The Intercultural Center was expanded to include a research wing dedicated to studying and sharing technological advancements across civilizations. This facility became a beacon of innovation, where scientists and engineers from different worlds collaborated on projects ranging from energy conservation to space travel technologies. Sora often visited the research wing, engaging with the teams and encouraging them to think beyond conventional boundaries. One of her favorite projects was an initiative to develop a universal translation device that could facilitate even deeper levels of communication between species, an endeavor that had personal significance for her, given her experiences with linguistic challenges during her time at the Earth Academy. As the network of alliances grew, so did the complexity of maintaining them. Sora found herself navigating an increasingly intricate web of political, military, and economic interests. To manage these complexities, she established a series of advisory councils comprising representatives from each member species. These councils provided guidance on various aspects of the alliance, from defense strategies to cultural exchanges, ensuring that all voices were heard and considered in decision-making processes. Despite the heavy demands of her role, Sora made it a point to maintain personal connections with her colleagues and friends from Earth. These relationships not only provided her with valuable perspectives, but also reminded her of the personal stakes involved in her work. The friendships formed during her time at the Academy continued to influence her approach, infusing her leadership with a sense of empathy and commitment to collective well-being. Her efforts culminated in the signing of the Galactic Unity Charter, a comprehensive document that outlined the principles and goals of the Alliance. The charter was a testament to the power of diplomacy and cooperation, and its signing was celebrated across multiple worlds. Sora, as one of the principal architects of the charter, received accolades for her visionary leadership. With the charter in place, Sora's focus shifted toward implementation, ensuring that the ideals and objectives outlined in the document were translated into effective actions and policies. This task was daunting, but Sora approached it with the same determination and optimism that had guided her throughout her career. Through her leadership, the Alliance not only navigated its challenges, but also thrived, setting a precedent for future generations of leaders. Sora's legacy, rooted in her deep commitment to unity and peace, continued to inspire those who followed in her footsteps, driving forward the vision of a harmonious and prosperous interstellar society. As the years passed, the fruits of Sora's labor continued to mature, with the Interstellar Alliance standing as a beacon of cooperation and peace in the galaxy. Under her stewardship, disputes were resolved with diplomacy, and shared challenges were met with unified strategies, proving the enduring value of the principles enshrined in the Galactic Unity Charter. Looking to ensure the sustainability of her work, Sora began focusing on mentoring the next generation of leaders. She established a leadership academy on Virexia, drawing from the model of the Earth Military Academy, where she had once been a cadet. This new institution was dedicated to training future diplomats, military leaders, and policymakers from across the Alliance, instilling in them the values of cooperation, respect, and mutual understanding. One of her protégés was a young Virexian named Lyra, who showed a keen interest in interstellar diplomacy. Sora took a special interest in Lyra, seeing in her the same curiosity and determination that had driven her own career. Together they worked on several key projects, including a new treaty to manage the ecological impact of interstellar mining operations, a topic that had become crucial due to the expanding industrial activities across the galaxy. Lyra was not the only one to benefit from Sora's guidance. Many young leaders from various species came to seek her counsel, benefiting from her experience and wisdom. Sora's office became a hub of activity, where ideas flowed freely and strategies for the future were debated and developed. Amidst her busy schedule, Sora found time to return to Earth, where she was honored at a special ceremony commemorating the anniversary of the Interstellar Alliance. Standing once again at the Academy where her journey had begun, she reflected on the path that had brought her here. She spoke to the assembly about the importance of maintaining and nurturing the bonds that had been formed, emphasizing that the peace and prosperity they now enjoyed could only be sustained through vigilance and continued cooperation. Upon her return to Virexia, Sora decided that it was time to step back from her day-to-day responsibilities and focus on strategic oversight. She transitioned into a role as a senior advisor, allowing Lyra and other emerging leaders to take on more operational leadership roles. This transition was not easy, but Sora trusted in the abilities of her successors, knowing she had equipped them with the knowledge and skills to succeed. Her later years were spent in a beautiful estate overlooking the Varexian seascape, where she penned a series of memoirs detailing her experiences and the lessons she had learned. These writings were not only a record of her own career, but also a guide for those who would follow in her footsteps. As she neared the end of her remarkable career, Sora was awarded the Galactic Peace Medal, the highest honor given by the Interstellar Council. The ceremony was attended by leaders from across the galaxy, all united in their respect and admiration for her lifetime of service. Her legacy, they all agreed, would continue to influence the galaxy long after she was gone. Finally, surrounded by friends and family, Sora looked out at the stars from her home, content with the peace she had helped forge and confident in the new generation she had prepared to lead. Her thoughts drifted to the young, eager faces she had mentored, and she smiled, knowing that the future was in capable hands. The galaxy, once fraught with conflict and misunderstanding, now shimmered with the light of unity and hope, a fitting testament to a life dedicated to the pursuit of peace.